Picture this. You're lying awake at night, staring at the ceiling, your mind spinning not about tomorrow's to-do list, but about the inevitable fact that someday, there won't be a tomorrow for you at all. Why do we fear death so much? How does it control our behavior? Can facing death make life more meaningful? Let's go deeper. Imagine you are standing at the edge of a long, endless road. The sun is setting, painting the sky in 1,000 shades of red and gold. The road stretches forward, but in the distance, it just disappears into mist. You can't see where it ends. You know it ends. You know you must walk it. But what waits at the end? Silence? Darkness? A new beginning? That unsettling feeling in your chest? That's death anxiety. And whether you notice it or not, it's quietly shaping almost everything about your life. Let's step into a story. A story that could just as easily be about you, me, or anyone. You're 25. You're chasing dreams. Maybe a career. Maybe a relationship. Maybe just some sense of success. You wake up early. You hustle. You stay late. You laugh with friends. You share memes. You plan for the future. But every so often, late at night, or when you're alone in your car at a red light, or when you see a gray hair for the first time, that thought creeps in. This ends, and without realizing it, that single terrifying truth becomes the hidden engine behind so many of your choices. You work harder, not just for the money, but for the significance. You chase relationships, not just for love, but for connection. You seek comfort, not just for pleasure, but to shield yourself from the chilling realization that none of this is forever. Death anxiety is like the hidden music playing under the surface of life. We can pretend we don't hear it, but it's there. And the louder we ignore it, the louder it gets. Philosophers have known this for thousands of years. Let's travel back in time. Picture the sands of ancient Egypt, around 3,000 years before the birth of Christ. The pharaohs, considered living gods, ordered the building of massive pyramids. These weren't just extravagant graves. They were colossal symbols of defiance, attempts to lock a piece of the soul into eternity, to outlast death by sheer willpower and stone. Jump forward to the ancient Greeks. Epicurus, the philosopher, taught that the fear of death was the greatest source of human suffering, but he offered a radical idea. Death is nothing to us. Because when we exist, death is not present. And when death is present, we do not exist. Simple, right? But here's the truth. Even though logically it makes sense, emotionally we still fear it. This is where psychology steps in. In the 1980s, two psychologists, Sheldon Solomon and Jeff Greenberg, introduced what's called terror management theory. They proposed that most of our behaviors, our striving for achievement, our need for self-esteem, our allegiance to cultural systems, all act like shields protecting us from the paralyzing fear of death. We don't just want to survive. We want our lives to matter. We want to be part of something bigger. A country, a religion, a tradition, a movement, so that when we die, a part of us lives on. It explains why cultures throughout history have revered heroes, martyrs, legends, why we build statues, why we write books, why we tell stories. It's all part of an ancient, invisible war against oblivion. But it's here, right here, where the story shifts into the heart of our biggest question. If death is inevitable, and our fear of it shapes everything, what can we possibly do about it? How do we live without being crushed by the weight of knowing it all ends? Some people run from the thought. They fill their calendars so full they never have a quiet moment to think. Some people try to conquer it, to get rich, get famous, leave their mark. Some numb it, through addictions, through distractions. But ancient wisdom offers a different path. The Stoics, Roman philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, had a practice called memento mori. Remember, you will die. They believed that contemplating death wasn't morbid, it was essential. Because only by facing death can we truly learn how to live. Imagine waking up every day and thinking, this might be my last sunrise. How differently would you treat your loved ones? How carefully would you choose your words? How fiercely would you chase your passions, knowing that time is slipping through your fingers like sand? Viktor Frankl, who survived the Holocaust, wrote in his masterpiece, Man's Search for Meaning, that suffering becomes bearable when you find meaning in it. He said that life ultimately means taking the responsibility to find the right answer to its problems and to fulfill the tasks which it constantly sets for each individual. Meaning, he said, often comes from love, from work, and from courage in the face of difficulty. It's not about erasing the fear of death. It's about seeing it clearly and choosing, deliberately, to live in spite of it. There's a Japanese concept called mono no aware. It's the awareness of the impermanence of all things and a gentle, bittersweet sadness about their passing. It teaches that beauty exists because things don't last. A cherry blossom is breathtaking not in spite of its short life, but because of it. Imagine if you lived that way, not trying to grip life with clenched fists, not racing against time, but holding every moment like a precious, fragile thing, because it is. Facing death doesn't make life meaningless. It makes life priceless. Now, maybe you're still wondering, isn't thinking about death depressing? Won't it just make me anxious? The answer depends on how you approach it. If you see death as an enemy to outrun, then yes, it's terrifying. But if you see death as a mirror, reflecting the urgency, beauty, and tenderness of life, then death becomes a teacher. A wise, silent teacher reminding you. Spend time with those you love. Laugh fully. Cry when you need to. Don't save your best self for tomorrow. There might not be one. The falling action of our story is not about gloom. It's about a quiet, steady joy. The joy of knowing that what makes life precious is that it's fleeting. When you kiss someone goodbye, you don't know if it's the last. When you watch the sunset, you don't know if you'll see another. And rather than making life sad, the truth can make it sacred. In the end, you don't defeat death by ignoring it. You defeat death anxiety by loving life so fiercely, so honestly, that when death finally comes, you can greet it like an old friend, knowing you did not waste the gift you were given. The final whisper of ancient wisdom is simple, but profound. Live as if you were to die tomorrow. Learn as if you were to live forever. Maybe you can't change the fact that someday there will be no more tomorrows. But today, you are alive. So live